And this is like very personal, by the way, so I hope you guys are like appreciating this, because I think this might be the most that I've ever let you guys like in my mind. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly. If you're new here, then welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do a get ready with me just for the day. I'm gonna do my hair, put some makeup on, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna have a little chit chat with you guys and talk about my birthday, because just yesterday I turned 29. So I want to talk about how my birthday went and just what I feel like I've learned in the last year and what I would like to work on in my 29th year. So if you're interested, just keep watching. And during me filming this, if you happen to hear any noise outside, it's because my neighbors are doing something to their lawn, so FYI. But yeah, so I'm gonna start off doing my hair first so I can like do that and allow it to air dry while I'm doing my makeup. So my hair's already wet because I just washed it. So the products I'm gonna use today are from Wella. If you haven't seen my latest Wella video, I did a review on their newest curl line, Neutral Curls. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave the link right here. Make sure you watch it after this video. But yeah guys, yesterday, June 11th, I turned 29. Crazy. I don't feel it. I don't know what I feel, but I don't feel 29. Time really goes by so fast, and I know everybody says that, that's such a cliche thing to say, but it's true. I'm starting off with the NutriCurls Curlixir Balm, and then after I'm going in with their curl shaper. So yeah, I wrote it on my Instagram yesterday. I did a little birthday post. Thank you, by the way, to everybody on Instagram who showed love and commented and sent me messages. You guys are super sweet. And on Facebook too, thank you guys. Yeah, I just feel like getting closer to a milestone age, like 30. I'm just like thinking about my whole life. Like everything that I, experienced thus far, everything that I've been through in the last year, what I want to do, my goals. So I feel like there's a lot ahead, God willing. I just can't believe I'm 29. I was talking with my husband and we were just thinking about the last year, and he asked me how I felt, about my 28th year. Last year was a year of growth. I did a lot of things to make myself feel proud, and I think that's important. That builds our confidence and our self-esteem. The traveling that I did last year, I did more traveling in a short period of time than I ever did. Like, it started last August. I went on an Alaskan cruise. So that was a really cool experience, because when would we ever go to Alaska? So that was a nice little blessing. Somebody brought us out there. And then from there we went to Seattle, we went to California. Oh, we went to Canada with the Alaskan cruise. So we did a lot of cool things. Last summer, Wella invited me to London. And then after that, we went to California again, and that's when I worked with Ulta, and that was like a dream come true job. Like, oh my gosh. A couple months later, we went to Atlanta for another job where I worked with the Main Choice. And then in January, like this January, we went back to LA. And then after our trip to LA, I went to Florida to visit my parents for my dad's birthday. So I just did a lot of traveling back to back to back to back. And the reason why I bring that up, for me, traveling and flying different places every 2 months is very different. So I definitely think that it's funny that for the job that I do now, which is, working with different companies and brands, a lot of the times you have to fly out to go, for a photo shoot or a video shoot or something, and you kind of have no choice. I mean, if you want that job and you want to grow in your career, you got to go. So I definitely think it's a God thing that this is my job now, because I used to be so afraid to travel. I just wanted to go back home to my normal routine. And if you know about like anxiety, then you understand and you get it. I know it could sound weird, like why wouldn't you want to enjoy, a new place and go exploring and all that stuff? But when your mind is kind of like focused on different things, that's not on your priority list. So that's what it had been for me for so many years. I felt really accomplished when I went to Florida by myself, because not only am I not a fan of traveling, I'm not a fan of traveling by myself. And the reason that I went alone is because my husband had work, so he couldn't come, and then so did my brother. So it was just something that I felt like I really wanted to do. I wanted to surprise my dad for his birthday, and the fact that I did that and my parents knowing how I am, it meant so much to them. Like, they could not believe that I went by myself. They were like, what? So yeah, I don't know if any of you guys ever experienced that. And if you guys know about the Enneagram, I wish that I made a video about it because I mentioned it before. I mentioned it so much on Instagram, and I just haven't got to make a video. Maybe I'll make one eventually, but if not, just Google Enneagram test, or I'll leave a link in the description box to take a free Enneagram test. But it's basically a personality test, kind of like Myers-Briggs and all those other ones, but I like Enneagram the best because I feel like it really explains like the inner core of a person. Like, it talks about your innermost desires, your innermost fears, why you think the way you think, how you process, how you view the world, how you view others. It's very deep and it's very interesting. So if you do know about it or learn about it, I'm an Enneagram type 6. So my personality type is very prone to viewing dangers in the world and how to protect ourselves from that. So generally, we're very on guard and don't naturally trust very easily. We are planners. We like to prepare. We plan ahead. We don't like a last minute change of plans. Like, we're consistent and we're pretty constant people. Another name for the Enneagram type 6 is the loyalist. So we are very committed to our people, to our things, to our jobs, but we're not naturally very risky. So if that helps to give you a little backstory on kind of why I am the way I am, but I've been trying to grow out of that. The thing that I like about the Enneagram is that learning about it doesn't give you an excuse to kind of just say, well, here's why I'm like that and you just got to deal with it. No, it's more of like, here's why you're like that, and now you know, and now you can grow. Like, if it's an issue, if it's a negative, if it's a flaw that you have, that you're like offending people or hurting people, I definitely think that that's something to grow in. And for me, it was hurting me. It was hurting myself because I wasn't enjoying life the way I should. With the people that I love and care about. I became a very worried type of person. So that's something that I've been working on in myself over the last few years, but especially the last year. Like, again, when I was 28, I feel like I did a lot of inner work. Inner work is understanding yourself emotionally, spiritually, trying to deal with any traumas that you might have experienced. And it could be, you know, very severe. It could be not super severe. Like, I know a lot of people, including myself, who would look at their childhood and think, I had a pretty good childhood, I have a good relationship with my parents and my family and stuff like that. It's not really about that. It's how you perceived life, because people don't perceive reality the way it is. They perceive reality the way they are. I saw that quote in a TV show, but it's so true. So the Enneagram helped me understand that, like, people don't always see what it is. They see it through their own lens. So kind of digging up inside of yourself and finding what those things might be, your inner flaws. Everybody has them. So figuring out like your weaknesses, how you can grow in that. So that's the inner work that I've been doing. I started going to therapy in 2016 and it's been life-changing for me, honestly. I stopped for a while and then I began again this year. So yeah, it's just been super helpful to talk about, you know, the things that I know I struggle with. Again, a lot of it stems from anxiety, and anxiety is such a broad topic. So in my Q&A video, if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave the link right here, but I did touch on my experience with anxiety and I said I would make a video on that too. I gotta do so many videos, but that one has just been hard for me because there's so much that I want to say, and I think as a YouTuber we're kind of in that place where it's like, what is too much sharing? I'm still trying to figure out like how much I want to share. Honestly, I do want to share. I do want to talk about it. It's something that I'm very passionate about, and it's something that I talk about often already. As I told you guys before, like, I am very passionate about mental health. I went to college for counseling. So yeah, that's something that I plan to work on pretty soon. I feel like doing the inner work is so important, like for any human, no matter your background, your race, your, you know, social class, no matter what kind of job you have. Like, that's something that everybody should work on for your mental state. I feel like people don't talk about that enough. I mean, the mental health thing has been a topic of conversation over the last, I'd say 3 years especially, but it's not enough. Like, I still talk to some people, I still come in contact with some people who find therapy to be a scary thing, or they feel embarrassed by it or ashamed. Going to therapy is like going to the gym. You work out your body, you keep everything flowing, you keep everything fit and in shape, you prevent issues from happening. That's what therapy is. You're talking to a professional who's helping you dig up stuff from your past, or dig up things that are inside of you that you don't even know about. You know, that's a huge thing. Everybody, every person has blind spots. All of us do. And sometimes they're really, really rooted deep, and it's not enough to just talk about with a friend. Sometimes you need to get professional help. And anyways, that's what I did. That's what I'm doing. And it's been amazing. Like, it's been so helpful for me. So if you've been thinking about it or considering like going to a therapist, I want to encourage you to please do, because it's really helpful. Like, it's really beneficial, especially if you have good insurance, girl. Jump on that. Okay, so I scrunched the crap out of my hair, but my hair is already starting to dry, so I'm just gonna leave it out and air dry while I do my makeup. And now for the makeup, this is just like my everyday simple chill makeup, not my like going out to party makeup. So I don't know if you guys are the same as me, but when I'm just chilling or like hanging out locally, I have certain like drugstore makeup that I use, and then when I'm going out to like, you know, a bigger event or something, I have my higher end makeup. So this is kind of like my chill, my low-key makeup. So I'm just gonna add a little moisture to my face. So anyways, as I was saying before, I've definitely been trying to grow in certain areas that, you know, I struggle with, whether it be like anxiety, control, temper, whatever it might be. Everybody has a different, you know, area that they struggle in, and I definitely think getting help for that is super important. I'm all about like encouraging personal growth. I think it's very empowering, you know? I'm just learning the importance of self-confidence and trusting yourself. There's so many people in this world who do not have self-confidence, and I mean like inner self-confidence. I don't even mean like outer, because everything comes from our mind, our thoughts about ourselves, and I feel like starting there will help everything else. I don't even mean like an arrogance of like, oh, I'm that chick. I mean like being sure of who you are and where you stand and what your purpose is and where your goals are. I feel like that is so important. That's like a strong foundation, and that's what I'm trying to grow in myself. And I do feel like a lot of that stems from my faith and what I believe in about God, what I believe in about myself and who I am in light of who God is, and what that means for me having a relationship with Him, what that means for my life, what that means for my goals. Like, everything that I do comes from my perspective of who God is. But I think in general, it's important to know, you know, what your purpose is in life, whether you believe the same thing or not. I definitely believe that human beings are wired to walk in purpose, because I know personally the feeling of not feeling like you are walking in your purpose, and it makes you feel so hopeless and depressed, because we're meant for something more. We're meant for something bigger than ourselves. We're meant, to me, this is my opinion, I think we're meant for more than working a 9-to-5 every day and trying to build up enough money for retirement to just chill back and relax. I feel like there's so much more to life than that. I know that's the American dream, but so many people, and I've done that too, live as though, you know, you just kind of exist. You're just coasting and you're just doing the next thing to do in life. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that at all. We have to do those things to live, you know, you have to work to make a living. But what I'm saying is that's not all there is to life, you know? Whatever it is, I just feel like it's so important to have that thing that you're passionate about, because it makes you feel alive. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense to you guys and you don't think that I'm just like rambling on about some crazy talk. And the reason why so many of us don't do the thing that we feel, you know, passionate about or called to do, it could stem from trauma in your life. And that's, again, it all comes together. That's why mental health is so important, because the things that scare you, the things that you feel like you can't and won't do, those are oftentimes tied to some form of past trauma in your life. And that's why going to therapy helps so much, because it allows you to see what's stopping you from living your life. I don't know, I lived that way, especially in my early to mid 20s. This is new to me, honestly. Like, having this mindset even is new to me. Wanting more for myself is new for me. So I know how you feel if you are going through that, if you're holding yourself back from things that you really would love to do, but you kind of see it as something like, I could never do that, I could never live that way, I could never pursue that goal or that dream for myself. There's a reason why you hold yourself back. And what boggles me is some people don't even dig deep enough to know. Like, my circle of friends, I love them so much. Like, we're all doing this together. That's what I love. We're doing this as a community. A lot of them are going to therapy too. We talk about the things that we're learning. We're trying to do this self-growth thing together, because you can't do it alone. It's hard. You need people by your side there to encourage you, to uplift you when you're feeling down, when you feel overwhelmed by things that you feel like you can't overcome. I don't want to get to age 60 and still be struggling with this stuff that I'm struggling with. You know, I want to work on this now in my 20s. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been on lately, and it's bettering me and it's bettering the relationships that I have with people, the people that I love. So it's very worth it to me. So another important thing that I plan to work on in my 29th year is allowing myself to feel hopeful. And what do I mean by that? I have always been the type of person where I don't let myself get my hopes up, because I don't want to be let down. And I realized that, you know, I did that to try to protect my feelings from being hurt or disappointed or whatever. And the reason why that's not good is because when you put up a wall like that, you're not only blocking out, you know, things that could hurt you, you're blocking out everything. So you don't feel the pain from the disappointment, but you also don't feel happiness or joy or excitement. And I think that's what happened to me over time, because my mom would even joke. I remember when I was like a teenager, she would tell me, man, you could win the lottery, and you would be like, oh, cool. And I guess I never noticed that about myself. You know, that was definitely a blind spot for me. And I really, really noticed it during my success. You know, most of you guys know, like, I was in Ulta stores, you know, all over the country. I was in a bunch of campaigns. I was in Wella's campaign. That's my first global campaign. Like, I had so many cool things happen to me. Obviously, I was happy. I was thankful, of course. But like, I didn't feel like a high, like a euphoria that one should get when, you know, this is great news, like you should be happy. I just felt so like in the middle, like mellow about everything. And this is like very personal, by the way, so I hope you guys are like appreciating this, because I think this might be the most that I've ever let you guys like in my mind. But the whole point of why I'm sharing this is because I'm not like ashamed to share this. I'm a very reserved person, so I'm very careful about who I let in. But when I share something, it's very intentional, because I want other people to know that they're not alone, and I want to help people if they're having the same issue. I want to help them understand it and walk them through it and all that stuff. So I don't just share stuff just to share it, just to have content. I share this because there's a purpose behind it. But yeah, guys, let me know if you have ever dealt with that too, like kind of feeling afraid to feel hopeful or afraid to feel excited because you don't want to be let down. I think that's also part of my being afraid to take risks, being afraid to take risks can hinder your ability to love. And it's almost like it blocks like the fullness of what love could be because you're too afraid to be hurt. Being hopeful is a very vulnerable thing. Fear is the underlying cause of all that stuff. So what's the answer to that? So I can only share from my experience, but what I feel like the first step is humbling yourself and being open to different alternatives to how you live your life. A lot of us walk every day in this unaware, subconscious state, not truly like living, like intentionally growing and feeling things. And man, turning 29 really kind of woke me up to that. And I'm like, I don't want to live like that. First of all, tomorrow's not promised. Life is short. And I want to live knowing that like I'm in my purpose. I don't want to live in autopilot. There are seasons where you don't feel yourself, and there are going to be seasons because we're human and we have, you know, the up and downs of life. Sometimes life is hard and we're just in a funk for months. That's fine. We're allowed to feel, you know, our emotions and sit in the hard places. But I mean, overall, like when there's a bigger purpose that you're kind of like focused on and your mind is set on, it helps you to get through those harder times because your mind is on something bigger. There's a lot that I've learned and there's a lot that I need to learn, you know? So I guess, you know, the older you get, the more you think about this stuff. Like everybody wants to walk in their purpose, right? Like who wouldn't want that for themselves? But how many actually do it? To me, it's always been so inspiring to watch people like walk in their calling. They're super passionate about it, whatever that may be, whatever, you know, it's different for everybody. But it's such a beautiful thing to see a person like living their calling, like doing what they were meant to do. And it saddens me that that's not a common thing, unfortunately. Like most people just coast throughout life or they settle. And I also think there's a big difference between settling and accepting, because another thing that I've had to learn this last year is learning how to accept what things are. But I feel like accepting where a certain situation is and having the right mindset of like, okay, this is what it is, how can I make the best of it, is different than just, I'm just gonna settle for this and not even, you know, try because this is the hand that I've been dealt and that's just what I have to deal with, and now I'm gonna be, you know, sad and depressed. So there's definitely a fine line between acceptance and settling. Like it's all about your mindset and your attitude in the season that you're in. And for a long time I was not living in an accepting place. You know, in my early 20s it was full of that. And now I'm just learning how to like accept what it is and take things day by day. You know, try your best, but then also trust and leave the rest in God's hands. Like whatever's meant for me, whatever's meant for you, God will make a way. As long as we're seeking him and, you know, asking for his help, he will guide us on the right path. So yeah, obviously I have a lot of thoughts on this. Another thing that I learned, if you don't have a plan, it ain't gonna happen. So I've been trying to plan ways in which I can grow for myself, practical ways that I can do better in every area of life. So my makeup is done. Now I'm gonna put some lip gloss on. This is Morphe in Freebird. I love this color. It's such a pretty nude. And then I also have this lighter lip gloss from Morphe, and this is Flower Crown. So putting this even lighter nude color over the darker one, just a few dots in the middle, makes it a really pretty mix. Okay, so my makeup is done. Now I'm going to diffuse my hair. I got to air dry it, so it definitely dried up quite a bit, but I'm gonna diffuse it until it's fully dry and then I'll come back on. Okay, so my hair is pretty much finished. Pretty much all dry and fluffed out. So yeah, this is my simple, easy, everyday go-to look. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing my heart and kind of just my mindset over the last few months, my goals for a healthier, better me. for my 29th year, and hopefully you guys are headed towards that same path as well. If you're on that path already, let me know some things that you are doing to grow your inner self. Also, I did this on Instagram and I'd love to do it here on YouTube too. If you are 29 years old or older, I'd love to hear something that you learned or realized while you were 29, and I think it would be helpful to share some wisdom and some advice. And for everybody else, please feel free to let me know what you thought about the topics that I was talking about. Leave any comments or questions down below and I'd be happy to answer them. All the products that I used in this video are going to be in the description box, so if you have any questions, check there first. I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Give it a big thumbs up for my birthday. Thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.